So we come to a point after we're born, the first house or the ascendant, and we are now something physically separate from our mother and one of the closest biological relationships we have in life. So it is one of the closest relationships. We grew literally from cells into a human being inside our mothers, and our mothers have nurtured us, even if it's in a biological sense, in the womb. But they've sort of seen the best and worst of you throughout life, and they still love you unconditionally. So this is the effect of the other. It's also from the other's point of view as well. So the mother, as well as the father, can also identify the first house with the child. So if this relationship was maybe inhibited or strained at any point, especially in the developmental years, this will really affect how we relate to others and how we trust, and inevitably how conscious we are of ourselves. So if it was a healthy relationship, we do see a good ability to trust and accept others and to see ourselves clearly. And this is fundamental to all our relationships throughout life. And you can trace all patterns in relationships back to the relationship with the mother and father and the close family. So this is why the ascendant and the descendant is squaring the MC, the father, and the IC, the mother. So this is also a time when we started to self-discover the first house and know how to be independent and strong and capable, all these Martian qualities, but also how to allow family and friends and support to help us on our journey of life. It's the opposite seventh house. And when we can't do everything on our own, as much as the first house would love to do that. So it's the balance of being on our own and being our own hype man and encouragement, and know that it's okay for others to be able to, or let others to be there for us if we need help or we can't do everything on our own. Because at the end of the day, we are very social creatures, and this is the vital role of Venus. She really connects us all with friends and community and all social structures. This is why we have Venus. That one worked, brilliant. Okay, so Venus, the seventh house, and the descendant representing the other, the equal and opposite reaction, the thing we don't see in ourselves as well, that maybe we project onto others, especially close relationships. So we know this is an important way for us to know ourselves better, to understand we have our own free will and actions, the first house, that may come up against opposition simply because of this fact, because we are separate from others. And we realize this through relating, through seeing and working with our shadow in the other. So this would be the sign on the descendant. But why do we have so much focus on duality in our world? I love a rhetorical question. Why is there so much duality in our world? Good and bad, right and wrong, God, Satan. These themes have played a major part in our views and our lives throughout history, really. I can share a theory that I discovered recently, which I found very interesting. So maybe it is because of our planet and our environment that we live in. We have half day, half night, 12 hours of each. And at night, that meant danger, predators, potential death. And then the daytime meant the ability to see and to live and to conquer. So if we go back even far enough, when we were just bacteria in the depths of the dark ocean, moving towards the light, the surface of the sea, and eventually the land, meant to create life, growth and evolution into humans, what we are now. So there are such strong, obvious polarities in nature. And I think we forget about nature, well, the nature of our planet, and that we come from it. We're not separate from it, we're made out of it. And this effect that it has on our psyche, we forget, maybe because we are becoming removed from it, and even the planets in our solar system. So just a theory. So if you imagine for a second that we have no planet Venus or moon, and we just have, say, 1 hour of nighttime, would we still think this way? Would we still have these concepts of good and evil, right, wrong? There's such focus on duality in our life. Okay, so we understand opposites are necessary, because how do you create the energy to go up? Say a ramp, you can't just sort of get there without first going down and to gather the momentum to go back up. So the negative helps you move towards the positive. So in life, you know, maybe when we are going through negative experience, tough experiences, trauma even in our lives, in relationships, in love, breakups, we remember that it's necessary to then be able to go up afterwards, to see the positive more clearly, to contrast it with the negative. So this up and down of the polarities creates balance and new energy and forward moving energy and evolution. So relationships help us to move forward and transcend what we currently are. So the first house also asks, who are you? How do you act? You know, where were you encouraged when you were younger, and how confident are you within yourself? Or do you rely on others for self-validation and acceptance? This will sort of determine a pattern if the pattern is created in relationships to help sort of see and work on this. So these are good questions to ask and to look at. It comes back to, again, fundamental developmental years. So to come back to ourselves and who we are as an individual as well, also equally as important. So how many external things, people, circumstances, reactions do you maybe rely on to feel confident? Confidence we get in the first house, or do you create your own confidence and simply decide who you are and create that? We kind of have to be responsible for that in a way, and transits over the ascendant first house will do that, like I'm experiencing right now. Or because you can sort of decide, you have this energy that you work with, but we have the free will in the moment to sort of decide how we're going to use that energy. So again, we have to be responsible for that, not anybody else, not your parents, not your partner, not your children. So that comes back to that individuality of the first house. So we can be the creators of that, at least of the perspective of how we view that and ourselves. So again, asking rhetorically, are you living, you know, your truth? Are you thinking, are you being your truth? This is all coming from the first house of that confidence of knowing who you are. And can you do that while loving others and allowing but not needing that external energy, and not fighting but accepting those healthy differences in other people and of yourself? So we have to balance and develop a deep, loving and healthy relationship with other, but also self. And love is very powerful as well. It has the ability to create beliefs. So beliefs by which we live our lives by, and we see throughout our relationships in life. Beliefs so strong as, am I worthy enough? Do I even deserve this partner? Does this partner deserve me? Should we be together? Who am I around this person? These are all sort of created through loving someone. And if we have the negative patterns in relationships, they have been there since we were very young. At 12 years old, psychologists say our personalities are pretty much developed. And if we haven't yet revisited these beliefs that we created up until then, they will become ingrained and harder to change over time. So, but we have the choice to change and to look at our patterns and to create new ones. It just takes some digging and some awareness. Breaking the habit of being yourself is what Dr. Joe Dispenza would say. He has an amazing book on that. Okay. So I love that image. So love is also medicine for a wound. It can heal past, present, future pain by bringing you into the present moment and feeling the love, the bliss, and connecting you to the divine love that is always there. Again, this reminds me a lot of the Venus in Pisces being exalted there. It's that universal love, universal consciousness. So when we're there, there is no space and time or prejudice with this connection and this type of love. It's unconditional, and it relieves us of the mind and any conditioning that we have, and allows us to just be. And a lot of Eastern philosophies also encourage us that being in the present moment and non-attachment relieves suffering. So again, how can we sort of create this more presence in our relationships, more joy and love and acceptance? Pisces is very compassionate and giving, because then you can heal and experience and see more clearly why we are here, what we're here for, and why we love. Okay, so to finish up, we need the darkness to see the light. They're complementary, they're not opposites. We are created from the dark, matter, the womb, the feminine. So we can go towards the light. And these are just two ways to help us find that balance: the dark, the light, the first house, the seventh house. But teaching us not to be one or the other. It's the same with the north nodes, any strong oppositions. You can't be too far in one without feeling a sense of missing. So this is why we love, I believe. And this is why maybe we're even created physically separate from others, to find compromise, mediation, justice, cooperation, and equality, these Venusian qualities, balanced with our own individuality. And maybe also to experience ourselves from both sides, but also all perspectives. Okay, these were just a few quotes that I got that are interesting to look at in regards to the Venus-Mars opposition. So to a man, we're going to talk about Mars here. The sex is the ultimate expression of love. It's pure pleasure, but to a woman, Venus, there exists something greater than pleasure, a gesture of adoration, very Venusian. They're very opposite. There is always some madness in love, but there is always some reason in madness. I like that one. And the hunger for love is more difficult to remove than the hunger for bread. And I like this one. It gives us the sense of the first house of need and want and survival and Martian qualities. And love is irresistible desire to be irresistibly desired. Desire, again, we wouldn't have that in love if we didn't have that Mars-Venus opposition. Okay, so fun. Here we go.
Wonderful. Thanks, Sophie. Thoughts, comments, questions?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Sophie. Yes, the oppositions are so important, aren't they? Because the opposition, as you say, between night and day, but on my brain model, the opposition between Mercury, right, and the moon on my brain model, the Mercury is what we call ourselves I think, therefore I am, right? That's Mercury, I think, therefore I am. And the moon is me, don't hurt me. So we have a me and we have an I, right? And in between, we say I am me, and am is the verb to be. Sum est sunt. So the verb to be, but we need the I and the me to make the be in the middle, the am, yes? Is that interesting? Yeah, so it works, so you're so right. It's so important, I'm saying. I'm just on your side. I think everything you said is correct.